Wow.
I can't even look at you.
I'm so excited.
So beautiful sitting over there. I'm so excited. This is like or at least like my first official like close person in my life aside from Jake that's been on the pod. Emily.
I'm honored.
So excited. I obviously, there are many reasons we wanted you on the pod, but just to name a few, outside of all the things that you do creatively and professionally, and you'll dive into all of that, you are just such an incredible friend. And when I moved here, you just made me feel so welcome and at home in LA. And so I just have like the most amazing feeling when I think of you, and I'm honored you're here.
So sweet. It's so funny when people ask me how I know you. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I actually knew Jake first, and then he gave me Shira, and everyone's
Right.
so confused. They're like, wait, what?
I feel like that's a lot of the people here.
Yeah.
Like we all knew Jake before Shira. So
Yeah.
Well, you've known me.
I've known you, but then like when you brought Jake to my house, like my mom's house, I was like, wait, this
Everyone
is
knew
weird.
Jake. Jake had a lot of parties at his house that included probably
Gordo
every
party
zip
house.
code around the valley. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think this topic that we kind of thought about would really resonate with our audience, but also aligns with you. And I think this topic of romanticizing your life is so interesting, and I don't think I've heard anyone really talk about it
Me
in this
either.
context, and I'm excited to just hear your take. Obviously, for the people who follow Emily, she has a beautiful Instagram, and she showcases her life in like a beautiful way. And obviously, there is a lot outside of Instagram, so I'm happy for people to just get an insight into you and who you are. But aside from all of that, some things I love. Okay, you're unapologetically yourself. You are loyal as fuck. You speak your mind. You have taught me to tune into my body and like my health and how I feel. So there's just a lot of things that I think in this topic will like draw in. But yeah, is there anything you want to say
Oh my God, thank
about you? Did I
Those are
capture?
such nice words. I wasn't
Okay.
expecting like all the compliments. No, I'm
No,
so
we're here to roast you.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Please, yeah, bring
It's
it
just
on.
like an early start.
Bring it on. No, yeah, put me in my place. No, I'm just so excited to dive in. I feel like this
Yay.
is such a fun topic.
It is. It really is.
I personally think that you're an expert at this, so I'm excited to learn more because you guys are very close friends, and I've known Emily for so long, and I know you so well, but I feel like I'm just gonna get a deeper glimpse into you, which I'm really excited about. So
Yay.
yeah.
Okay. So there is a new venture that you started just before we dive into this topic head on. I wanna know about it. Elsie,
Yeah.
which is something I feel like you've thought about for a really long time and finally put it out there. Can you give us a little window?
Yeah,
into
I
it?
feel like we can get into it more when we talk. Cause
Yeah.
whatever. But I've had so many different little jobs, and I always wanted to work for myself. So that was like the biggest, most exciting change in my life. But starting Elsie was just like so authentic to me and like really the next right turn for me. I've always wanted to work with brands, so it's a creative agency.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been so fun. It's just
That's
so
amazing.
fun and me and girly and
It
creative.
is very you. I love it.
Can you tap into a little bit what your background was before pivoting and doing that?
Yeah, I've had so many different jobs. I graduated college with my major in screenwriting. I love TV and film. I love, the industry. And when I graduated and throughout college, I had interned in writers' rooms for different TV shows. When I graduated, I was an assistant in a writer's room, which was very cool. It was on the lot at Paramount. Super fun. I got to like drive the little golf cart around.
That's so fun.
And I was just like getting coffee and getting lunch, which is very humbling, especially for me. It was great. And I got to write an episode, which was very cool for Magnum PI. And then after that, COVID had just hit. And I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. They didn't need me as an assistant anymore. I got to write the episode, which was great, but I wanted to write for something that wasn't TV. I didn't feel like maybe that was what I wanted to do, which is very full circle because now I do want to do that. But at the time I was like, maybe I will write for like Goop or Poosh or like some sort of publication. And I ended up getting a job. And this is the scary thing that's happened to me is sometimes I'll say something and like not even really fully believe it yet. And then it happens very like easily, which is great. It means you're obviously in alignment and flow, but got the opportunity to write for a like travel luxury publication, which was very cool. It was a woman who worked in New York, and that was like one little job I had. And then I worked for a clothing company doing, you know, TikTok content. I worked at a production company, Endeavor Content now, 5th season, and working in TV development. I wanted to get back in the industry. So I've had all these little jobs that have kind of led me to like where I am now, which is really interesting. Like I didn't think at the time that was what was going to be my trajectory. I always kind of knew my path was like a bit skewed and different, and I wasn't the type of person to like be in a corporate job for 6 years and work my way up. It was very like, oh, I'll try this and I'll try that, and just kind of fluid, and knowing that like I was still learning and I wasn't too hard on myself. I was like, I think there were times where I started to see my friends getting promotions and getting pay raises, and I was like, oh, interesting. Like, that's not where I'm at. That's not what I'm doing. I'm kind of jumping from job to job, but now I'm exactly where I wanted to be, which was working for myself, which is incredible. Great.
Do you think you're the type of person that gets bored very easily, or you don't like when people tell you what to do? Because at least for me as like an entrepreneur and wanting to have something of my own, like I think I worked a lot more quicker than like a normal pace, which made me very bored in the sense that that's what pulled me to start something. So I'm curious, what was the pull for you?
For sure. It's so funny because I look back at school and I'm like, I had a really hard time with teachers too. I had a hard time with bosses. I had a hard time working for people. I like couldn't keep my mouth shut. I would kind of say whatever's on my mind. And like, as much as I respect other people, I think like I always innately wanted respect too. And I think sometimes there are people who I've worked for in the past who like I didn't feel respected by. I just felt kind of like, you know, like I worked for them and I just had to like be quiet and do what I was told. And it was just not a good feeling. I kept feeling like this is the way I wish I was treated. Like I wish I had a really strong mentor. That being said, like I worked for a lot of amazing people. I think I just didn't really want to do what they were doing. So it was harder for me. And I worked for some people that were not great and were super toxic. And I was like, oh, well, when I'm a boss, I don't want to behave that way. And I want to treat, and now that I am employing people and hiring people constantly, like my biggest thing is just making sure everyone who works for me is super happy and like having fun. Like work should not be so miserable. I don't understand where in the world we decided that work sucks, but like if you're in an office, you spend most of your time in the office rather than at home. Like you should be like having some camaraderie, enjoying yourself a little bit. Like it shouldn't be, unless you're a doctor and you're saving lives, like you're not saving lives. Let's loosen up a bit.
It should be fulfilling. Like you should go to work and feel like, one, you're being respected by the people you work with, but two, that you're like serving a mission. That's your mission. And I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, I've never worked harder than when I work for myself. I think it's really fulfilling. I think it's really fun for me to be creative. I found that like I like don't stress about like what I'm doing, and I don't focus on like the money when I'm having fun and when I'm doing what I love. It's like it doesn't feel like work. Like there are some days now where I'm on shoots and I'm like, I can't believe this is work. Like I'm having the best time.
That's how it should be. You should want to wake up. You should have the luxury of wanting to wake up and be excited for what you're going to do, because like you just said, majority of the day is your work. And a lot of people, I mean, I've never really like thought about that perspective before. So
I also think I always came to the table and in life and in work with such like a masculine energy of like, I'm a hustler and I'm going to get this done. And like, I need to talk to everyone and I'm networking and like this very like masculine kind of intense energy. And in the past year or so, I've like softened so much and I've become so much more like feminine and wanting to receive, and in all aspects of my life, but also in work, where it's like I'm not really like outwardly pitching or like doing anything intense. Like I feel like I've drawn a lot of my energy back and things are flowing to me more naturally because I'm really excited about the
Right.
things that I am doing, and people are seeing that and they're coming more to me rather
Right.
than me having to like push and just be so, I don't know the word, but like masculine, I guess,
Right.
is
You're
the
not
right
forcing
word. Yeah, I'm not
anything.
forcing. I'm really like letting things flow and feeling what's good. And there's a time and place and like season for all those
For
things.
sure.
Like there are times where I'm definitely more, and that doesn't mean I'm not proactive or I'm not
Right.
like reaching out to people or trying to like work with people.
But
I
you're
think,
trusting the process.
yeah, I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting the universe. I'm like anything that I like, anything that's for me, I'm going to attract as well
Yeah.
as like going after it.
I think this is a perfect way to kind of segue into just this idea of romanticizing your life. And I'd love to just understand, what does that mean to you when you think of just romanticizing your life?
It's so funny because I feel like people have always like thought that I did that, but for so long I was in such like fight or flight and like anxiety mode that I actually couldn't do that at all. It wasn't until like a couple years ago when I started like really like meditating and getting into like my morning routine and all those things that I feel like I have really started to actually romanticize my life, and it's not just the pictures are showing it. It's like I genuinely
Right.
feel that way. And I think it was all about being super grateful. Like that's a huge shift I made in my life,
Gratitude.
was gratitude. Waking up, my apartment, like I've been living there since last September, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Like you guys have been there, it's great. And I wake up every day and I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful to live here, and like I'm so grateful for this matcha that I just made, and I'm so grateful, like genuinely every day I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that I work for myself. And it's all about gratitude and being super present in the moment, which I think for a lot of people like me who like have dealt with anxiety or depression or any of those things, it is difficult because you're constantly worried that something's gonna come and get you or like kick your ass, or
Yeah.
you're like thinking about like the past or mistakes you've done, and you're not fully in the present at all. So a huge thing for me was like really coming back to the present, feeling safe in my body, safe in the present moment, and being able to relax and receive and just like be so grateful for that walk or that cup of coffee or that
Right.
time with my family. Like that to me is romanticizing your life.
What's that one thing, or like the first step that you can recall taking that brought you to a place to be more relaxed and less in fight or flight?
I think breathing,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because I like sometimes even now, because your bodies are so intelligent, like sometimes you feel it in your body, then you have to get out of it and
Right.
go on a walk, get some fresh air, take a deep breath, like meditate, listen to something calming. And then if you're really in your head and you're anxious in your head and you're looping, you need to like get into your body.
Yes.
You need to like dance or like jump around, go to a workout, go on a hike, like move your body.
Right. I love that. That's good.
I really do like that.
It's hard to kind of find beauty in everything. So how do you kind of balance the good and the bad and continuing on your venture of romanticizing and being positive?
I mean, that's life. Like,
Right.
life is full of good and bad, because if we didn't experience the bad, we wouldn't be able to, differentiate the good. I think part of it is like sitting in uncomfortability, and like there are going to be times in your life where you're so uncomfortable, whether it's like, a death or a breakup or something horrible happen, or it's just as simple as like a fight with a friend. Like anything that makes you super sad or uncomfortable or angry,
Right.
you're gonna want to get out of it quickly. But I think just sitting in it, like there have been times in my life where I've just really had to like sit in it, but then I always know it's temporary. I'm like, okay, Emily, you're good, this will pass, and there's so much on the other side. And I think that's been a huge thing for me, is like knowing that every moment, good and bad, it's all temporary and it goes so quickly. And that is
Yes.
part of being in the present moment,
Yep.
because you can't really escape. And
No.
if you do, like, you don't really process things in the same way.
Right.
I don't know if that answered
No,
your
that
question.
does. That's beautiful.
How do you build these relationships with people around you, friendships, family members who might not be able to see eye to eye with you, or look at the world in the same lens as you do.
I think something about me is I try to always look through other people's lenses. So do you guys know human design? Have you heard of human design?
Like the concept of human design?
Where like you're like a specific human design. So I'm a reflector, which is like really rare, I guess. And what it means is like I literally reflect people back at themselves. So a lot of times, like, I don't know, maybe that's why I think I do tend to like get along with all sorts of different people, or like I can maintain relationships. Like I have a lot of different friend groups where like I'm really close to this one friend group, but like they wouldn't be friends with this other friend group, or like they wouldn't mesh. But I think for relationships, people tend to, I think on the one hand, it's like friendships ebb and flow, and you have to be like understanding and respectful of that. Other people's lives, obviously we're getting older, people get married, they have kids, they have, you know, homes, like you have so much going on, but just checking in and being, I think the best thing to like maintaining good friendships, or the best advice I could give is like be diligent, check in on your friends, call them often, see them, like make an effort.
Right.
Like everybody has busy lives, but even if you're seeing your friends once a month, once every 2 months, if they're far away, once a year, like that's really the only way to, you know, stay in touch. I also think at this age, like we all have stuff going on. So you can't really expect people, not that you can expect people, but like you should definitely check in on your friends and make sure they're good, but not everybody. I'm a very open person. Like when something's going on in my life, I'm the first to tell you, to the point where like sometimes I'm like, I just need to like not tell anyone anything. No, but I think sometimes people take a minute, or like but also no one reads your mind. Like if something's going on in your life and you need a friend, like you need to also be open to coming to them. I think it's about like open any relationship to me is like about open communication.
For sure.
Also there are different friends for different things, and I think like understanding that friendships ebb and flow is super important.
For sure.
Or relationships ebb and flow.
Absolutely.
I feel like you live life to the fullest with your friends. Like I feel like you find plans, or even like small things, whether it's like brunch at your house and you're so hospitable and you invite people over and you're a connector in that way. Like I feel like you always find ways to even romanticize the friendships in your life, and not just doing necessarily what it is that you love, but like knowing that someone loves something and making it a point to do that thing with them. And so like how does your brain work? Because for people, it's not like a natural thing to think in that way, but you do. So like, let's say you want to make plans, right? Because I want to know this for the weekend. And you have a specific friend group you want to hang out with. Like, where does your brain go? I feel like it's a canvas of a weekend, right? In your planning.
I do plan a lot. I feel like, well, it's also because right now I've just been so like travel bug. So
Right.
like when I'm
You
here
wanna
and I'm
fit
grounded, I
everyone
want to fit
in.
everyone in. Or when I'm in New York, it's like I have to see all my New York friends. So I like plan it in, whether it's like a lunch
Like
or
an
a coffee.
itinerary.
Or
Right.
I'm really big on. You've all seen my schedule. Wilhelmina was literally making fun of me about it. Carly and Willie were looking at it and they were like, "You literally write down when you shower. Like enough."
I feel like you do the same.
I just really like to utilize my time well. But to go back to like, I think my mom always taught me like what's important to me is important to you, whether it's like a friend, a family member, a relationship. Like it's not all about you. It's not all about what you want to do. Like if something's important to somebody, it's important that you, as somebody who loves them, are there to do it, even if you hate it sometimes. But I think when it comes to friends and plans, I definitely feel like I'm proactive and I don't wait. I think sometimes people do what like they go with, what's it called when you match someone's energy? They're like, I'll just match their energy, but like then you won't see everyone because Emma has a baby.
Waiting.
Like I'm not gonna, like I'm gonna reach out to her and see when's good for her, and I'm gonna go around her because she has a baby and I don't. Like things like that, where it's just being cognizant of your friends and like,
that's big.
Or like my friends, like I'm always happy to host. I love having people over, but also like you live in Topanga, let's go to Shira's because we're not gonna always make you drive out to us. Like just being cognizant. I don't know.
But that's I think one of the most beautiful and special things about you is that you are very intentional with your words, with your actions, with the next step, whether it is with yourself, with your friends, or with your family. Like I think you do think one step further, or you, I don't know how to like really like explain more about this, but like it's just very rare to find someone who does that, who goes above and beyond for the people around them,
Who's proactive and
yeah. And like even as little as you're inviting both of us over for brunch, like you are very aware of both the things that we like or we don't like. You'll make sure that there are gluten-free things for Shira. You'll make sure that there's like my favorite orange juice. I don't know, like you're very aware of these things, which a lot of people, it doesn't come as naturally for them. So it's just a beautiful thing. I don't know if I necessarily had a question for that. It was just
you
like
guys
a
are so
comment.
complimentary. I'll come on any day. Like, I'll just come over, feel good a little, and then leave.
It's a feel-good pod. We're empowering each other.
Yeah, but I think it comes with, again, like you do romanticize your life. Like even me just watching your posts, right? When you're with a friend, like you're very intentional with, at least on my end, it looks that way, like with the coffee mug that you choose to use that day, or like where you're sitting in your house that day. Like you're very in tune with like the energy or something.
I'm very energetically sensitive, like the most, even as a child, mostly as a child. Now I'm like a little bit less, but energy is like powerful. I don't know.
Yeah.
When but did you like read about that?
No,
like what made
not at all. I think I'm like very, it's funny because sometimes I notice that I can be like, I think I'm such a like I grew up being so sensitive, felt everything, like so empathic, that I got to the point where, as I got older, where I was like, I don't want to feel this anymore. Like it's too much. Like I don't want to feel what you're feeling and you're feeling. Love you, but like don't want to feel it. It's a lot. But now as I've gotten older too, I know that it's like it is a strength, and just being able to like be in tune with people and like, I don't know, just notice. I think it's all about noticing things, and that's what like romanticizing your life is, right? It's like noticing the butterfly, and like on your walk, like the house that you love, or like, you know, that it's your friend's birthday and you know like they love this exact cake. Like I try to like, just notice things about people, and I'm the first to say I'm not always the most self-aware, like the most, you know, like nobody's perfect, but I think like in terms of friendships, like friendships are really important to me, and I've always, even when I'm in relationships, like I've always made sure that friendships are just like top of mind. And I think girl friendships are special, especially the ones that have like grown a long time together, and especially at this age we're all in completely different like timelines and spaces, and it's just nice to like, even if it's once a month, to get together, just do the things that you love to do with each other and be together and hang out. I love being like on top of my friends. Like it reminds me of like being in a sorority. I'm like, I just want like Willie and Carly
were the way I think of a sorority.
Oh my god, like Willie and Carly were over yesterday, and we're like all three like on the couch on top of each other. Like there are other places to sit, but like we want to like be close. Like that is
it's
just
like puppies in a puppy puddle.
Literally, like, yeah. Like, girls are just like soft and sweet, and I'm like, I just like I love my girl friendships. I hope it like
they're important.
Continues. It's so important.
So what can people find offline?
I mean, I think when it comes to like content, I tend to be more like mysterious and aesthetic. Like I'm not so personable. Like you'll never see me get on a story and just start talking.
Right,
like,
but you show people like parts of your day, so people might think they know because you're open in that way. But I feel like there's a whole other side of you that people don't know.
For sure. Like I don't really share my writing with people. I definitely feel like my life, like I keep pretty private on like online, at least sometimes I'm a little more open. It depends on the topic, but yeah, I don't know, like obviously we've talked about like I've had struggles this year with my health, and I went off birth control, which made my skin go haywire, so I've been dealing with that. Like I don't really talk about that, and that definitely is something that was tough for me with like confidence. Like I love taking photos and I love being in front of the camera too, but it kind of knocked me a little bit, where I was like, I don't really want to take photos right now, and I don't really want to be in front of the camera. And I think also just coming to terms with like letting go of like perfectionism. Like not
Yeah.
everything needs to be perfect. It can be real. I think you're so good at that, Emma. Like and you too. You guys are both very good at being super real on social media. And I think like what I've noticed, or like what I won't do anymore, is like I would never post something if like I don't feel good. Like if I don't
Yeah.
feel good emotionally about a situation, or like if anything is like, if that day like I'm not feeling it, like I won't post something. Like if I'm posting something and it's like because I'm in the moment and it feels good and like life's fun and I'm
Right.
having a good time, great. But like if I'm not having a good day, like I'm not pretending like I'm having a
Right.
good day. And that's something I think in the past I have done, where it was like a highlight reel and I wanted to be perceived a certain way. And now I think I'm much more conscientious of like, I also think maybe my mentality has changed a lot, where like I don't
Right.
need to share everything.
Right.
But yeah, I think offline I have a really like quiet, chill vibe sometimes, or like this part of me that's much more like grounded and down to earth. Like my morning routine is sacred. My evening routines are sacred. Like that's for me, and I like have shared glimpses of it, but it's
Right.
really like that's what keeps me like good.
For sure. Are there times where you take a break from social media, or you just put it away, or you like, has that been, I mean, for many people we've had on specifically, they have shared that taking those cleanses has helped them. Is that something that you can relate to, or?
Yeah, there was a period of time where I was like, I'm not going to consume a lot of content. Like I didn't go on TikTok for weeks. Like I wouldn't look at anyone's stuff. I was like, if I'm creating, it's like for me, and
Right.
and if I want to
Right.
post. And then inversely, there have been times where I'm like, I don't feel like posting anything or doing anything, and I'm just enjoying the moment. Like at weddings, that's a big thing for me. At weddings or like big events, I really do not have my phone. I remember last summer one of my best friends got married in Israel, and I literally had my phone in my purse the entire night, and at the end of the night I was like, I don't have one photo. Like and I'm like, at least my friends took photos, because
Right.
then I can post them. But it was the best night
is
ever.
the
I had so much fun, and I was like, I just don't like want to have it. And that's
Right.
happened to me a lot of times, obviously, because I think I do get caught up in it, where like I want to, because I'm such,
Right.
for me it's like, again, I have 96,000 photos on my phone. Like I'm just taking photos all the time. Like I honestly wish I was good using a camera, because I for sure want to be a photographer. But yeah, I think there's a time and a space for that. Social media doesn't really impact me negatively, I would say. Like I don't, at least anymore. Like I don't do the comparison
let
thing.
it. Yeah.
No, because I think I've gotten so comfortable in what's happening to me, where like I'm so trusting in the universe and trusting in like my life and
Right.
where I'm at, that like whenever, even if something bad happens or I'm upset about something, I'm like, I'm good. Like
Yeah.
I'm cool. So nothing really triggers me.
Doesn't knock you. Right.
Yeah, like it's not
great.
like, oh, I'm having the worst day ever and so-and-so's in San Tropez. Like it doesn't bother me
100%.
at all. Or like maybe it used to, but like no, I just don't let it. I'm like, I'm so grateful for everything I have. I'm so happy
Right.
with my life. Like I don't need to
You're not looking
compare.
for that, validation or that
For sure.
happiness in socials.
I also get really inspired from social media. Like I love seeing
That's
other
huge.
people. I follow a
was
lot
just
of
gonna say
creators.
that.
Like
Yeah.
I also don't follow people that I don't want to see their stuff. Like
Bingo. I
Just
think that's
unfollow them.
huge. Like you don't need to follow people you don't want to see. And like muting people is beautiful.
yeah, just
Like,
if
just
there's like
filter it.
somebody that's triggering you because they have.
Or
First of all,
isn't
I actually
right.
think also like this is something I've learned a lot this year, is like if somebody is triggering you because they have something that you want, it's actually really expansive for you and it's amazing for you, because it's showing you that you can also have it. So
Sure.
like you should get triggered. I don't think there's anything wrong with being triggered. I get triggered all of the time, and I'm like, cool, this is making me better. This is making me up level. Like I'm not gonna shy away from something
Sure.
that's like upsetting or like triggering to me. Like, oh, this girl has like the sickest closet and the best outfits, and I don't feel like I have anything to wear. I'm just like,
Right.
okay, cool, then I'll
It
put
doesn't
together
diminish,
a new outfit.
but it also doesn't diminish you and your closet and your
For
like,
sure.
like it's not a comparison thing. And I think that's the first thing people look at. And I think back in 2020, I just started filtering my feed. I started muting people, unfollowing people that just like didn't inspire me. And it's a beautiful experience when you can curate your socials. So like I really recommend that.
For sure. It
to
also
people.
like, yeah, it's like I go on social media because I want to feel good, not bad.
Right,
So I want to see
right.
like I follow people that literally just inspire me, and I
Right.
see like cool like home design or like
Yeah.
trips and like things that I'm like looking forward to or things that I
Feel
want
good.
to see. Yeah.
Good topic.
I need to do that because
Yes.
people.
Oh,
I've had
it's-
people reach out to me being like, "Why did you unfollow me?" And I'm like,
Oh my.
"Cause I don't want
People
to."
yeah. Also, like, I don't check who people always check who unfollows them. I'm like,
Yeah.
who cares
Yeah,
if
who
they don't
has
want to see
time
my
for
stuff?
that?
I don't give a
Right.
shit.
Right.
Bye.
It's like there's so many big
You're
big
missing
things.
out. No, I'm kidding. I'm like, I don't
You're
care.
missing
Yeah.
No,
out.
who cares? Like, what does it matter?
Wait, so I have a question that's kind of like I don't know if you would consider it a rebuttal, but like, what would you tell people who would say like, okay, romanticizing your life is not practical, or like, what's the point, or it's exaggerating, or like something like that?
I think people also tend to say those things when like they're not happy with the home they live in, or they're not happy with their job, or they're just not happy about something. And what I would say to that is like, or like, what, like, I'm in an office from 8 to 8, like, how can I romanticize my life? And it's like, it really depends on what it means to you. Like, does that mean like waking up a half hour earlier to go on that little 10-minute walk in the morning, or does that mean, you know, looking outside your window? Like, I think romanticizing your life is like finding the little things to
Small
love about
things,
your life.
right.
Like, it's not about having like the most gorgeous kitchen, like, or having, you know, the best, I don't know,
House,
like the best
situation,
clothes,
right.
the best house. Like, it's not about like having so many nice things or being like living this crazy life. It's literally about like what's inside
Right.
you. It's about like I romanticize my morning routine, which is like the most simple thing
Right.
ever. Like, anyone could do what I do in the morning.
Do you go to bed excited for the morning?
Yeah,
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
That used to happen to me.
I mean, it
don't.
depends what's happening that day.
Yeah,
But, like,
I'm
yeah.
like, that cup of coffee sounds so good.
Yeah,
right
or
now
like
in
that bowl of
bed.
fruit. Can't
Yes,
wait. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that like whatever. it
Romanticize
is.
your bowl of
Smoothie.
fruit.
Dude, I post
She
so many
does.
bowls of fruit.
No, I'm saying to you guys.
People, like, I had one friend who literally would DM me every time I posted, and he'd be like, "Can you please make me that bowl of fruit?" And I'm like, "No problem. I love my bowl of fruit." And
Give
I will
it-
keep
okay.
posting that, and I
give
don't
us
care who
give
makes
us
fun
the
of me.
recipe.
I mean, it's just literally fruit in a
cut of
bowl,
fruit.
and then I
But
put,
what do you put over it? You
Oh,
used
my-
to put
my-
things
my
over it.
cacaos, yeah.
Cacao
So I put,
nibs.
actually, well, it depends on the day. I normally do fruit, whatever kind of fruit you want. I've been really into dates, and I do coconut yogurt with cacao nibs. Sometimes I'll throw in pumpkin seeds or like a butter. Like,
Yum.
oh my God, have you guys ever tried tahini with fruit? It sounds crazy, but it's
Oh, that
Absolutely.
sounds
so good
epic.
with cinnamon. So good. Yeah,
That-
like
that's
I romanticize
delightful.
my food. I romanticize my coffee or my matcha, my walks, my Pilates. Like, it's just like simple, but
Things
it's
that make you feel
the things that make me. I romanticize the things that make me feel good, and that's what everyone should do.
Should
Unless
do.
it's
Simple
like,
things.
and tune into what makes you feel good.
Unless
And if it
it's, like,
doesn't make you feel good,
yeah.
then
And I think it shows in your work. Like, those things make you feel good, so the pictures that you post look good. Like, people come at me all the time. They're like, "How do you take like the pizza that you eat looks so fucking good?" I'm like, it's really not that hard. I just like press record, and like, to me, I love food, so obviously it's gonna look good to other
Right.
people because I'm showing you how much I freaking love it, and like showing it at a different angle and stuff like that. So to me, I don't even think about how I'm gonna photograph or video my food, and I'm sure that's the same thing for you. Like, you put your coffee down, and to everyone else it looks amazing. Like, how the heck did she put her coffee down like that? But it's
it's even
I
like the
think
shadow play on your walls. It's like, I think like I've walked around with you and I see like how your brain works, and you just like, you see things and you're like, this is a beautiful moment where 10 people would pass by and not notice it. And
Yeah.
it genuinely gives you joy. And I think that's romanticizing. your
that's
life.
the director in me. I think like ever since I was a kid, I've been like that. Like, I would look out. I was like, you know, when everyone was like main character, like looking out their window with the news, like
That was you.
Michelle, no, but, like Michelle Branch is playing, and you're
Yes.
out your mom's car, and you're
Yes.
8 years old,
That's
and you're
Emily.
like, I'm in a movie. No, but I was like, I'm making the movie. Like,
Oh,
I felt like I wasn't like
like-
I'm the main character. I was like, I'm the one behind the camera. Like, I'm the director.
relate
Like,
to
I
that
love
so
that.
much.
yeah, everybody does. Like, what's the Michelle Branch song like that everyone's obsessed with?
Oh.
No, but like that's how I feel. I was just like, I think like you're the orchestrator of your own life. You're the director of your own life. Like, there's choice, and there's like freedom, and there's free will, and like if you don't like, the one thing I'll say about myself is like, anytime I don't like something about my life, I'm almost pretty quick to change it. If I'm in a job I don't like maybe it takes me some time to process, but like if I'm in something and I'm not feeling it, like and it's not that I'm running, it's just like I know what I like. When you know what you don't like, you know what you do like.
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
But you
Say it
still
louder for
give,
people
but you
back.
still give things a chance.
oh, for sure.
You don't just
I've given so many things a chance for long periods of times. I've sat, because again, I believe in like sitting in uncomfortability. I don't think you should run the second that you're uncomfortable in something. I think you should try to work through it, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's an argument. Like, you should just be uncomfortable. And everybody's so scared to be the slightest bit uncomfortable, or like to get shaken, like your reality to be messed up. But it's like,
Because it's the uncertainty. Like, people are afraid of the uncertainty or the unknown, and that's what's gonna propel you forward.
Yeah. I like there was this period of time where I was like, wow, like I have no idea what's gonna happen in my life, and I'm so excited to find out. And it was like I remember from like November of this year to like March. I guess it's also like winter. You're getting like really cozy and going inward, but during that time I was so in my own energy, like to myself, journaling a lot, like meditating a lot, really like thinking about like what I want my life to look like, but not like fixating on it or getting scared about it, getting like really excited, like, wow, I really don't know what's going to happen with my career. I really don't know who I'm going to be with. I really don't know what's going on in my life in so many facets. And I'm like, this feels really exciting. Like, I thought it'd be scary. And there were times where I always was like, oh my God, it's so scary. And I don't know what's going to happen. And then I like took the power back a little bit and was like, wait, this is so much fun. Like this is the only time in my life that I'm not going to know like what's going to happen. And then when those things do happen, like I did start my company, or like you do go into different relationships, you're like
beautiful things come out of
and then you don't know what's gonna happen after that. Like it's all like fun and learning. Like life I feel like life is like meant to be really fun, and like part of romanticizing your life is like having fun, whether you're literally playing a board game on the floor with your mom or whoever, or you're like on a tropical vacation. Like you don't have to be anywhere special to be having fun.
It's in the mundane things that we all do that we can find like those beautiful moments. If it's in your commute, if it's like a book you're loving, or like I just feel like people need that reminder. And like all of our lives look very different. I think it's important to say, like, we don't know what you're going through, and each and every one of us has lived a different experience, but I think we can all connect in those, like, let's find the beauty in the small things.
For sure.
You know?
Take control of your life.
Right.
Even if you don't know anything.
Yeah. I feel like also, like, I'm such a nostalgic person where I'm like, sometimes, like, and this might be like bad of me, but I'm like, I don't know, like I'll walk my dog and like he's getting older and I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know how many more walks I have with my dog. Like I want to enjoy this walk so much. Like, but like you don't know how much time you have with people, and you don't know, like you could have a best friend who you love so much and then they move somewhere else or whatever, where like you're not seeing that person all the time. So like you want to enjoy, or like you're not, or like you live in this one apartment and you're not going to live there forever. So
nothing's
like,
guaranteed. Like tomorrow's not guaranteed. I think that's also a really good reminder for people. Like today is what you have.
For sure. And I used to live in the future so much. Like I was, if I was on one trip, I was thinking about the next. If I was eating lunch, I was thinking about dinner. Like I could not be in the moment. I remember that. It was so uncomfortable. Like I couldn't be in the present. I literally, and it's so funny because, you know, when you see my schedule, you're like, oh yeah. But like really, I think for me, drawing it back and like trying to be in the present moment is being grateful and is enjoying, because you have no choice. You're like there. Everywhere you go, there you are.
Present is your present.
Exactly.
I'm really excited for the time you get pregnant, because I feel like
my content's going to be crazy.
Yeah. But also like you're already such like an inwardly like thinker. Is that even a word? But like just like being able to grow a human and like
channel all of that into the baby.
Can't wait.
We know.
We know.
Is there someone who inspires you the most?
It's so funny. I have like collections of people that inspire me. Like I have 3 writers that I'm like, I love their writing. They inspire me. I could tell you like off the top of my head. And then it's like people who inspire me on social media. And like I have different people, but like the first person I thought of was my mom, just because she's so like selfless, like truly. Like I know a lot of people feel that way about their mom, because moms like really just, they're moms. But like my mom is really like, even my friends go to her for things. Like she's just so like good to everyone, and she's such a good listener. She really inspires me to like be a better person and be a better version of myself. Like she's always ever evolving, and that's how I want to be.
She's beautiful inside and out. I'm lucky to know
she's
her.
Very patient too.
Very patient, the most patient.
Very, very patient.
I also want to touch on this topic of like going against the grain and not doing necessarily what people tell you to do, or doing like what you're expected. Obviously, we all have responsibilities and things to do in our life, but I think it's very easy to fall into the rat race or this like simulation that we're all supposed to be in. And I think you're so good at reflecting and being like, okay, this is not for me. Like I don't feel like this aligns with my body and who I am. How do you like find the courage to get out of it?
I think I've always been like a daredevil. Like I love risk. Like I have gone skydiving, and I will like do risky, like I like won't get on the back of a motorcycle ever in my whole life, because I'm like, I would love that way too much. Like I love risk. So like when it comes to like leaving a job or leaving a relationship or like doing things, like as soon as I feel comfortable and I know I'm ready, like I do take my time. I think like I will, like there were times where I had a job, then I'm like, I can't leave this. Like for whatever reason, it still feels safe. Like I need to be here, but I know I'm going to leave. But as soon as I'm ready, I'm like, I'm out, I'm good, let's go. And I think part of that is having confidence in yourself and finding like there was a period of time where I had not a lot of confidence. I wasn't trusting in myself. I wasn't able to cope with my own emotions. My nervous system was so dysregulated. And I think the first step is like making sure your nervous system is regulated, or at least you're like working to do that. Making sure you have support. Like if it's you're leaving a relationship, and you live with the person, do you have somewhere to go? Or if you're in a job you don't like, is there a backup where you don't feel like strapped for money? Or, you know, do you have like a safety net? Like, are there these things that are in place? And they're like, I always think of everything as like my toolbox. I'm like, because I was on anxiety medication for a long time. I haven't been on it in a couple years. Wow. And that was like a big choice to go off of it too. I wasn't really on like a crazy high dosage, but it definitely helped me. And going off that, just knowing like I had to be able to cope emotionally and be able to like maintain, you know, a calm, regulated nervous system, and how to do that. And I do really work my way up to things of like, okay, I feel like I'm good and I can let that go, and I can move into like this kind of bigger shell, whatever that is, whether it's the job, whether it's like living alone was also a huge thing for me. I was so bad at being alone. I couldn't go a car ride by myself. Like you both know, I've probably called you in the car.
Chapter.
Oh yeah. Like, but that was my whole life. Like I was so not okay being by myself. And I think a huge thing for me was deciding to live on my own, living by myself. Honestly, there was like a 2-week period of time in like November, December, where I swear to God, I don't think I saw anyone. I literally was like, I want to read my book. I want to be in peace. Like I'm good. And it's just because one, like I'm so much nicer to myself now.
Right.
So I can like sit with my own thoughts, and I'm not picking on myself at all for the most part. Like really, I try to never do that. And yeah, just finding like the confidence and knowing that like no matter what, you've got you. Like no matter what happens to me, if you know something bad happens to me, like I've got me and I'm good, and I'm gonna make sure I'm okay, because bad shit happens all the time. Like you can't control control bad shit from happening. You can only control what's internally happening to you. Right. And if that feels out of control, then like you need to get the tools where you're able to control it, which is something that I had to learn the hard way, and I learned it.
I love. This is so insightful, honestly.
What's a misconception people have about you?
I think people think I'm like such a bitch. Right? Like, off the bat, people do not think
Like,
I'm, like,
do you
as
think-
nice as I am.
Well, do you
Do you
think you
think
have
fault-
RBF?
What?
Do you think you have RBF?
For sure. Like, I probably have RBF. For sure.
Yeah, resting bitch face.
Yeah, no, I do. And I don't mean to at all. Like, my lips naturally do curve down, I think. So, like, I can't help it. That's just my face. But no, I do think people have said to me before, like, wow, you're, like, way nicer than I thought you would be. And I'm like, oh, okay.
What makes
that
people
stung.
what makes people think that?
I don't know. I'm like,
I mean, I found you very intimidating when I first met you.
Really?
I was very scared to like get to know you. I didn't want to say like the wrong thing or.
no, yeah, people have said that to me before, that I'm intimidating. And, like, to some extent, I think it's good to be, like, a little bit intimidating. Like,
Sure.
to feel
I
like.
think you carry
you're-
yourself
Yeah.
very well.
So what's the reality, Emily?
I think I'm really silly. Like, people don't realize how silly I am.
I agree.
People, like, don't realize how, like, I'm such a little girl.
And
like,
you're really funny. Like, you
Thanks.
crack me up all the time.
I don't really try. I feel like I'm not funny. I always say, like, my mom thinks I'm funny, but, like, I'm not funny.
You are.
Like, when people ask me if I write comedy or drama, I'm like, wait, I'm literally the least funny person I know. Yeah, I think people don't realize how, like, silly and little girl I am. Like, I am just, like, a little girl. Like, I just want to have fun and be silly all the time. And, like, when I'm at my best, I'm like that. And then
Right.
the time that I'm, like, not at my best, I'm, like, super serious, super, like I said, very, like, masculine, go-getter. Like, and I think that I love that side of me because it does help me get shit done. And, like, it helps me with, like, my entrepreneurial side. But, like, the side that I love of me is, like, the more feminine, softer side, like, the more chill, down-to-earth, silly, like, let's have fun side. That's, like, my favorite, Emily, which I feel like I've been more so in the
Yeah.
last year, which has been really fun.
It's incredible. Is there something that, if you're comfortable, that you're going through a bump in the road, no pun intended?
Oh, yeah, you didn't get to ask
Yeah,
her
we
the
didn't.
question.
We didn't, because we dove right in. But I guess, like, a bump in the road that you want to share, and then we could ask the questions.
It's so funny. I feel like there are always bumps in the road. Like, because you know what's, I was just talking about this with somebody. It's like, we focus, if ever, like, right now, it's like work's going really well. And, like, my life, like, my social life's going really well. And I'm traveling and, like, all these things are happening.
Right.
And, like, love life's going well. Like, everything's going well. And then the one thing that's not going well, you, like, hyper fixate
Right.
on. But then the second that's going well, you hyper fixate on something else.
What's up with that? Why do we do that?
Because we're, like, obsessive people. And I think I'm trying to actually really focus on the things that are going really well.
Right.
And I think that the things that aren't going well eventually, like, meet up because you're putting such, like, good energy.
Right.
And instead of, like, freaking out. But I will say, and I think we touched on it earlier, is, like, I have had, like, a whole health journey. And as I get older, like, I'm just my body's sensitive. I'm energetically sensitive. Like, I really have to take care of myself. So I think that's been a struggle lately, with just, like, health stuff, like, really trying to make sure I'm, like, feeling good. Ever since I went off birth control, like I said, I just
That's
have had,
helped.
like, skin issues, and, like,
But has that helped in other ways?
yeah, like, I love being, like, not on any medication. Maybe that's just me. I know it helps a lot of
Yeah.
people, and, like, there are certain times for
Right.
it.
It's different.
But
for
I think,
everyone.
yeah, like, as you get older, I think we've also learned just, like, how bad certain things are for you. So, like, detoxing off those things has been interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I literally feel like I tried everything. I went to, like, get acupuncture. I did all these supplements. I did blood work. Like, I've done all these things, and I'm a healthy person naturally.
Right.
Like, I feel good, and, like, I want to feel good in my body and feel confident. Yeah, I think it's all just, like,
It's just-
such a work in
yeah,
progress. But
work in
definitely there are days
progress.
where I'm like, I mean, I'm wearing makeup right now, and, like, but I'm like, I would love to just, you know, when my skin's good, I love to, like, not wear makeup and, like, not do
Right.
anything. And I can't wait for that to happen. But I'm also like, it's happening. It's
Right.
fine. Like, I'm not
Right.
trying to focus
And
on it.
everything's okay.
Yeah.
And you're beautiful.
And everything's great. But yeah, I think, like, when you focus on the things that
Right.
aren't going right,
Going well.
you are leaving room for it to continue to not go right, rather than, like, focusing on
I
the
agree
things that
with
are
that.
going really well, and
Yeah.
then hoping everything else goes the same route.
Literally the sole reason for our podcast.
Right?
Bumpers.
Bumpers. I guess, so just like, I was supposed to ask you this in the beginning, but we're going to do it now. because it's never too late. What are you bumping into your life and what are you bumping out?
Okay. I don't know if this is a long answer, but I used to be just such a people pleaser and like would say yes to everything. Like I used to literally every plan, everything, like I felt like I had to say yes. And now like I'm really good about my time. I'm like, that doesn't feel good for me, or like I don't have time for that. Like I need to prioritize this. So I think like something I'm letting go of for sure in this new chapter, let's say, is like people pleasing. Like if something doesn't sit well, I'm out on that.
Yeah.
Toxic people, just things that don't feel good. Like I think maintaining like a bubble of protection and peace around you is so important. No one's gonna do it for you. Yeah. So I think lately like a big thing for me has been like taking accountability and like letting go of my own patterning or like beliefs that don't serve me. Like that was a huge thing for me this year, of like just taking accountability of like, I don't feel good that I do this, or like I don't like something I really like I'm kind of honestly very much over, and we all do it, but like gossiping and talking shit, like every time I've done it doesn't feel good anymore. I'm like, ew, that's not the Emily that I like not for me. I don't really care. Like if somebody's doing this, that, whatever, good for them. Like I don't want to talk about it. It's not becoming of me. Like I'm out on that, out on gossiping, letting that go.
I love
Focus
that.
on, stay in your lane. Have some peace.
Literally,
I don't know. Bumping into, I like love, I think there was this huge part of me that felt like I had to sit at my desk all day and work to like feel accomplished, or like to feel like I'm doing what I have to do, and to not, I would make myself feel really bad if even when I wasn't like, I didn't have a corporate job for a year and I was freelancing and I was writing every day. If I didn't write one day, if I like took the day off, I would beat myself up. And I think I'm now learning that like I'm working even if I'm not working, and like I'm doing what's good for me even if I'm home and just reading a book or doing laundry. Like
it's all productive.
Yeah, I think like that's something that I've really shifted my mindset on, is like I don't need to work at my desk 9 to 5 every single day, or 9 to 7 Monday through Friday. Like there are some weeks that require that for sure, especially being entrepreneurial, but like there are other weeks where I'm like, I'm gonna take this call from the pool and I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna enjoy, because you're supposed to enjoy your life.
For sure. And women have a cycle, and like we're not supposed to be like the same as the guys.
1000%. I was just thinking about that, and it's so weird because now that like I'm not on birth control and I'm getting my period, I think about that stuff where I'm like, whoa, like yesterday I wanted to clean out my entire apartment. I don't know why. I was like, I feel the need, like I need to clean it out. And I was like, oh, this makes actually perfect sense with like where I'm at with my cycle and like my hormones. Like it actually balances out.
So it's like lean into that.
Yeah, exactly. Like leaning into like what actually feels good. And like I think a part of that is like really knowing yourself. Like a lot of people don't really know themselves, so like they can't really know what feels good and what doesn't, because they're not like they don't have an awareness of like who they are. So that was a big thing for me. But yeah, just leaning into like things that feel really good. I'm having so much fun, honestly.
Yay!
It's great. It's like this is like such a new thing for me, but like I'm trying to just really have fun.
I think people are gonna really appreciate what you have to say, and I think we want more of it.
Thanks. I'll come on anytime.
Yes.
Yeah, time to get you in front of the camera.
I know. I'm always behind the camera.
Romanticizing your life, part 1. We'll do part 2 and 3, 4, 5.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.